Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are around the world, and welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman Bergeron. And thank you for your continued support of reading what I have to say and watching what I have to say. It's been a long time that I look back at when I started receiving messages based on words and found out that there was a synchronicity happening. And knowing that synchronicity is when things all fall into the right energy pack and we receive them. But if we don't notice them and we don't respect them for what they are, we have this ability to uh, dismiss what is coming and what we're doing. So every day that I wake up, there's always something that comes from the dream time at night, and a lot of it is old memories. Yet, as I awaken and I tune into the world, I start to receive new messages. And each one of you are much like that, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. And this morning, the message was dawning of a new age. And I've been talking about this for a while, and many other people talk about it as well. Each one of us have our own uh, distinct memory or of what we've discovered or became aware of. And the question is right now in this world of chaos, when will that start? And the message is it already has. And many of us are awakening to things that we're questioning, where did that come from? And again, that's from the synchronicity. We are gathering information from frequencies that we weren't able to before. And a lot of that is now being dissipated as Mother Earth moves into another age. And our ancestors, many of them who have not been released, are being released from this planet. And there are many coming in that we're not aware of as well. And it's interesting because this has always been what has happened here. It's not something that anybody needs to be alarmed about. Yet, throughout the history of humanity, we have written horror stories about a lot of these things in order to retain control of civilization that we've created civilization. And right now, civilization's not working too well. So we're at that time of change. We've run the gamut and did what we have to do. And now we have future generations that if we don't start uh, welcoming them and their wisdom, which is far more than what we're going through now, then we are lax, if we will, in completing our purpose here. So it sounds a little sketchy, but the reality is that many of us who are in sort of the last stages of our body's journey here on Earth due to age or whatever, illness or whatever, have are being, not they have, but they are being connected with to reach out and give somebody something from yourself that will allow them to empower themselves and set themselves free from this, I want to say, this way we live, this way we live as humans, thinking that we are just amazing and nothing can stop us. So, with that said, today when I looked at the uh, date, and it was 2 1 1 2, and then we get, so it's, uh, yeah, 2 11, and then it's 20 thing. But I just got the first four numbers, and I looked at them, and it's 2,000 to 1,102. But when I looked at them, I looked at the ones, and the ones to me are pillars. And the pillars are what we move through when we move into, or at least I move into through, and that's what I represent as a pillar here on earth, through to higher levels of consciousness and awareness. And then the twos were sort of like guardians. They were almost like, we're here to help you. We're here to open the doors for you. And that's what the message I got. And I thought, well, what is it about? And then it came up to me about it's the dawning of a new age. And I said, well, that's going to be my talk today. And so I'm glad to receive that in the morning, and I'm glad to do that in the afternoon. I had time to think about it and write it up. So we're here. We're here on planet Earth as human beings, and we're much more than that. Um, Although we can't put words to it, or some people do, and some are accurate and some are not. So what the key is can we take advantage of the energies that we're being presented with right now to shift the consciousness of humanity? Now, this gets deeper as I go along, and it could be taken as political, it could be taken as harmful, it could be taken any way you want. I'm not here to spread fear. I'm here to talk about possibilities. Possibilities for humanity. Possibilities for the future generations of humanity. So, the rising sun, as I took a picture of it, it's on my page. It was just amazing. It was like just inviting me. And the numbers helped to inspire great hope in me. And there was a hope of there is a future. This is the sun speaking to me and saying, look how powerful I am. Do you think that I, if there is such an I of it, will change because humans don't agree with what I do? And that reality was, how do we think about nature? How do we think about the intelligence of nature? The intelligence of nature is ancient. It's far more ancient than we as humans are. And it has always been here as a collective whole, working together, working with and against each other, each creating a different dynamic that one needed and one didn't need, but harmonized. And then we have humans who have lived thousands of years on this planet and have sort of split apart from the natural pattern, energy pattern of Mother Earth, and decided to create their own. What we see in the wars and the hatred and the judgment, and that's all human. It has nothing to do with Mother Earth. It has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with the human mind. So what I ask myself is, how did the human mind become so corrupt, so negative? Because it's not always. We have amazing beauty. We've created all kinds of things. Our ancestors, we're finding things that they built 10,000 years ago that are just unexplainable of how they have done it, or what did they use, or who were they? And it's all been buried. It's all been buried under a new ideal of controlling areas of where you live, and then taking over another person's area. But in order to do that, you have to attack them. You have to kill them. You have to, take all of their things, steal it from them. This is not the way Mother Earth was planning to host humans on it when she first began. And right now, she is telling humanity very clearly that if you don't stop what you're doing, as a collective, then you will pay the price because I'm going into healing mode. Now, that sounds a little woo-woo, but that's okay. Sometimes we need that. So the numbers 21, 12 together just reminded me that if we follow our higher self it, that moves in and out through that gateway, we're going to be far more able to adjust to the powerful changes that are going to happen for humanity. I may not live to see them. I may not be here, long enough as an older person. But we have generations, younger generations that are coming in now that we need to help. And we need to uh, break them away from this automatic pattern that's being designed to control humanity and life, etc. It doesn't mean that the new, how do I say, the new things that are being created are bad in and of themselves. That's not the, they are powerful. It's the people using them that create the negativity, that create the danger. So 2112 is to inspire great hope as we welcome the new dimension. And government, hello Yolanda, bless your dear heart, in which government is about balance and harmony. Okay? Now, when we say that balance and harmony, uh, the new dimension, it will be involved in harmony and balance. But if we look at the one whose presence, those are far, far, far from their imagination because they are greedy, and they're hungry, they're power hungry, and they're powerful, and they've been like that for thousands of years. This is nothing new. We've lived through this probably many lifetimes, and we're still in that process. So this is the shift of changing of the new age, is that's what's going to shift. That is going to be dismantled. And that's the message that I got, is that we are rebirthing, and many things, changes are beginning to occur that make us question everything. Okay? Not from our heart, but from our brain. Our brain is trying to figure out, why is this happening? Why is that? Who's telling the truth? Who isn't telling the truth? Why is everybody doing things that are so negative and harmful to not just humans, but all of life? The planet, the plants, the trees, the air. Why has this come about? And basically, the major things are greed and power. And that's what government and that's what all of that is about. It's all about greed and power. There is no benefits to it except to those who are in charge of it. I'm not in charge of it. You're not in charge of it. So who are we? We are the slaves to it. And this is an old, old program that's lived in nations for thousands of years, unknowingly and knowingly. So the question is now, if we are to evolve, if planet Earth is to evolve, we have to let go of that old paradigm, that old period, that old way of conquer and own. So the gateway, as I see it today in the numbers, 2112, is inviting us to walk through those two pillars, to take a look inside of what's there, what is waiting for us to be heard or to be felt or to be seen. Because we're receiving this. It's being sent. And the governments and all of their wisdom of technology and science and all that, cannot stop it because they haven't reached that level, which is a level that existed thousands of years ago when the pyramids were built. And that whole thing is basically a connection system. But I'll let you discover that for yourself. The reality is that everybody had communication with other planets or alien, what we call aliens or dimensions. I'm not sure what they all are. It could be a compound situation of all of them. However, opening the gateway gives us access to that again. And as we tune into it, we start to change our pattern of living. And in changing that pattern of living, we allow for other patterns of living to succeed and to rebalance Mother Earth, to help her in her healing process. Each one of us are part of the medicine for Mother Earth. I'm going to take a breath here. A lot of that just came out, not from my notes, but just experiencing what I'm saying. And when I looked at it and said, how am I going to deliver this? So many of you are already aware of this. And each one of you are receiving a lot of changes in how and what you choose to be in your future and on that future path, and knowing when you're out of balance and then recorrecting it. So the world really is a teacher at many levels of what we have to do if we tune into it, I say. We are bombarded by media. We are bombarded by people who are writing all kinds of things, and most of it is irrelevant to anything. It's just ego and power and greed that is the force behind the writings. Totally unnecessary. I will just point out the presidential election in the United States of America. This is like a living nightmare. It has no relevance to power being equal for all at all. And I'm not even going to talk about the details of it, but each one of us are appalled by what people in power have decided should be running for the leadership of our country. Because none of them, as far as I'm concerned, are qualified. And I'm not trying to be prejudiced. I'm not trying to be anything. I just look at this and I'm saying, if this is what we're going to have to go through for another 4 years, is what we've had to go through for the last 4 years, again, then we've made no move forward. What it's designed to do is to stagnate our government, to stagnate global peace, to just put an end to it. And they can continue to play this game of profit. It's all about money. It's all about the power of the money. And eventually that's going to crash, as it has in the past. It's not the first, won't be the first time, but the price of that is going to be very, very expensive as far as humans go. So we need to start to think more deeply about the future generations. Okay? Our future path is limited by our age, although they can extend age many years for those who can afford it. Not to say that the expense of what it costs to do that is worth what it's basically sucking money out of everybody to fill a fund of nations who are gathering together and investing in the same things and selling to each other behind the screens. And we have our enemies selling us stuff, and we're selling stuff to them. Not that we should have enemies, period. But this is what's happening. And when you look at who's getting what and what's getting who and where it's coming from and where it's going to, you have to look and you say, this does not make any sense at all. And that's the key, is if we can keep people in a state of confusion and make them worry about their own food on the table and whether they're going to have enough money to buy a car or whether they're going to live on the street or in a house, we have them where they need us. We create a need for us, and we can dole it out here and we can dole it out there. But when the guy wants to mine for more titanium or whatever, oh, we can give him $75 million. Or the drugs, where somebody is inventing a drug in Europe and selling it to America, but yet they don't sell it where they're making it because they don't believe in it. But they've paid money to the Americans to buy it. And everybody in that level is perfectly happy. Oh, it's a happy business world. And yet the people are not getting the wellness. They're not getting things resolved. We're getting deeper and deeper into a psychological nightmare, which puts us against each other. And we'll argue about who's what and what's who and who's right and who's wrong. And as long as we're there, we're not going to evolve at all. So this is where we have to come. We have to come back into our hearts. Because the brain is being programmed daily by many different sources. And they're all about creating distortion. They're creating the fantasy. They're creating the thought of everything is wonderful. We just got to get the right people to do the right things. We shouldn't have to. They should already be there. They should already be doing it. This is why we're supposedly voting for them. This is why we're electing them or putting them in the power of leadership, because at some point they have an overseeing wisdom that is beneficial rather than destructive. So I'm going to just pause there again. And that's where we're at. The good news is the message that the Son brought to me this morning, that we will assist our future generations as human catalysts in teaching what is needed for transformation via peace, light, and love. When we come to the place of understanding peace, light, and love, most of us don't have a clue, because we've all been taught it's this or it's this or it's that, but we've always looked at them as separate. They're not separate. They're a triad. They're a sacred triad of energies that bring harmony and balance to everything. I'm not making this up. That's what it does. If you can broadcast peace, light, and love from your beingness, I don't care how you project it, you will create a field of energy that is positive beyond human consciousness. And this is what I'm asking people to do. This is something, my journey since I died and came back has been about sharing peace, light, and love. And even I am learning every day how precious it is and how much more I can bring and hold in my body to share with others. Not because I want to be a hero, not because I want to be a leader, but because this is who we truly are. We came here to live in peace. We came here to live in abundance. We came in here to enjoy the beauty of the Garden of Eden, Mother Earth. We didn't have to create it. It was created for us, with us in the beginning. And we have lost our way. So like the stone, the Indian stone, where they go around the stone and the line goes up and the thing goes straight. We're moving up. There are people who are going to stay on that level land and go into the destruction. They're going to go into that. And it's not for us to feel sorry for them. That's their choice. All of us have a choice to awaken or to stay asleep. No harm, no foul, no judgment. Because on the other side, it's already been seen. It's already written in the Akashic records. It's been happening not just this time, but several times. This is why we have civilizations that were built by people or beings who are not humans or what we would call humans. And they have languages that we still can't resonate and read. And they're buried in the ground. They created giant monuments that we can't even figure out how they could cut the stone or where they got the stone from to do that. And yet there it is, in plain sight. Marks all over the planet, carved in the ground to tell something from above, because you can't see it unless you're above. Those are our ancestors, ancient ancestors. And in that modality, they're coming back to teach us, through us. I'm not saying they're going to land and we're going to have this Armageddon blast out, but they're returning to us because they see the pain and the suffering. And then they know that each one of us wants something better, that we're trapped in a system that has no intention of clearing and cleaning the greed or fix the starvation or heal the people. And the only thing they're interested in is creating money, which is their everyday gold, but it really has no value. It's an illusion. All your dollar bills are not worth anything. They're only worth it because somebody tells you they're worth it. And eventually, we're going to learn that price of trying to be like them, because there's a level at which the switch goes off. And you have to give away your total moral self to do that work. And I don't care whether if you're in religion, whether you're in law, whether you're in bus driving, it's all the same. We give away our soul, our source of unconditional love, to, how do I say this? To quench the dryness of our greed. Thank you. Each one of you are beautiful. When I look into the world, I look at your names, I read your names, I see your quotes, your things on your Facebook. All I can do is send you love. Love, 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 and peace and light. And know that each one of you keep listening and moving forward for something better that you feel better about. You're on the right path. When we act from a place of greed or want, or I got to have the latest gadget, or I need a $5,000 pocketbook when a $50 one would work perfectly fine, or I need a $200,000 car, and then I wonder why car insurance is going up. Well, when you start smashing up $200,000 cars, who gets to pay for it? The guy with the old Chevy that's 14 years old. He's paying for it. You see, they will always win because they will always have the power of money. And that power of money came from their greed. Let us all come back into our hearts and know that power and goodwill and greed, power and greed will not be effective anymore. It's ineffective. There are new keys to those columns, those pillars, to open them to opportunities for people to bring us a new collective understanding. An understanding when we are awakened, we're going to leave the dream state and move. It's like waking up in the morning from getting out of bed and having all those crazy dreams and then saying, oh, here's reality. So I want you all to know that part of what you feel as suffering is that journey between what we were to what we are. And there's no fault of our own in the exception of we didn't have any other choices given to us. And many of us knew far more when we were children than we know now, because it was erased and rewritten over. And we didn't have a choice. You had to do this. You had to do that. And if not, you were either punished physically or emotionally. And we are all suffering from that now. And this is what we have to learn to forgive ourselves for not understanding, yet we had no power to understand. We were innocent, we were precious, and so we still are. Each step forward leads us to influence better living conditions for all life on Mother Earth. And all of this may sound like a fantasy or dream, yet when we let go of the past and watch for the new opportunities, we see hope. We receive hope. The hope that this one little drop of water is all this plant needs. Just one drop of water. And then another and another. Let us be the water bearers. Let us be the water bearers that deliver the water to that which needs to be nourished. May we all join our hearts together and send love to everyone, irregardless of what they've done to us, irregardless of the pain that we can call up in our minds and want to hold them guilty and want them to punish and get angry and hurt. And we don't need to do that anymore. Let's stand tall in who we are today. What are we doing today for all of humanity? For the children that aren't even born yet before they stop birth and they all do it in a laboratory. Because we are being led by very, very, very deeply malevolent human beings whose names will never be seen. They have reached a level where they're technically invisible, but only technically. We feel them. We know what they're doing. And it's time each one of us came back into our sovereign self and looked at life from a different direction and say, I'm glad to be here. Because my love, my care, my smile, my joke, whatever it is you offer to the world that lifts them is the most important thing any of us can give to each other. In closing, each step forward leads us to influence better living conditions for all life here, both on and within Mother Earth. May we all join hearts and send love to everyone for a safe balance and an abundance of confidence and optimism. Imagine what that would do. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. Let us share that unity instead of challenging each other with my unity's better than your unity. And when you can, learn to laugh at all of it, no matter how long or drawn it is. Know that in your own true self, you are a highly sovereign being and a gift to everything on this planet. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa, for being here, and Yolanda, always, and Lily. Yes, oh, I see you, dear. So thank you, and I apologize for not being here last week. Things got crazy, and I couldn't make it. So I'm going to try to be here every Sunday at 3:30. It seems to be a peaceful time for me. So bless you all. Thank you all. And I'll put a plug in for something I do every night. We've been doing it for almost 3 years. It's and some of you have been there. It's the Global Heart Team. Well, not the global. Well, there's two things, but one is the kirtan. I don't sing it. My friend Tony does it. It's his thing, and I sort of send my light and love and energy. It's 10 p.m. Eastern on Good of the Whole. And we're going on 3 years every night, not missing a single one, singing mantras to not so much for the words, but it's the energy, the musical energy, which is ancient, very, very ancient. I think there were songs sung even when they didn't have a language. And it's a place to let go of all that's bothering you. So I encourage you to join us if you can. It's 10 p.m. Eastern, USA, every night on Good of the Whole. So I just wanted to give you a little plug for that, or me a plug. Love you all. We'll see you. I'll see you tonight at 10. Bless you all.